Welcome to the Sunday morning meditation service. While we do this chanting, we're trying to get ourselves to go into where we should be at this time. In a peaceful state, we should be meditating every day, even if it's 5 minutes. Read something that just makes you feel that you're getting into a higher consciousness, and then just close your eyes and go into the silence. It's the food that we need at this time to bring peace to the planet. I've been having experiences of being guided in different things that are happening, going to be happening in the future, and that's like my immediate world. And I'm thinking maybe you're having those experiences now too, because if you get an intuitive feeling, take action on it now, because we're coming into another state of consciousness. This isn't what's happening in the world. That's when people changed with the Vietnam War. So many young people got into meditation, got into that oneness, so they could help bring peace. Well, this is what's happening now. So let that intuition become strong in you and take action when you get a hit and move on it, and it will increase. We are higher beings than we think we are, and so this chant is just to get us to find that peaceful state and to stay in it through what is going on, and to pray for the people in Ukraine and the people in Russia. They're in a bondage country, and let's see something happening in both countries for the people. Okay. This is call and response. I am in your presence. Cleanse and purify my mind. feel your presence. I can feel your presence. Cleanse and purify my heart. I am one with all. I am one with all. Kindness and love flow through me. Kindness and love flow through me. I see only love. I see only love. I feel only peace. I feel only peace. Where there is love, there's peace. Where there is love, there's a light. Love restores peace on earth. 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 Love restores peace on
Good morning, everyone. In the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, there is this beautiful white statue called the struggle between the two natures of man. As you can see, this is actually done by a sculptor named George Gray Bernard. But as you can see, it depicts two identical figures. One man is on the ground. The other stands over him with his foot on his thigh and the other foot on his neck. It appears that they are two wrestlers. As you can see, they're physically well endowed. Who will be the victor? The sculptor does not label the figures, leaving that decision up to those viewing it. But here we have the perennial struggle that is born with mankind. We have had this struggle since the beginning of mankind, down through the ages. And it has been recognized by the masters of all ages that we have this duality that we live with from within ourselves. It's part of what we are. And this duality actually represents the natural physical desire for physical survival. And the other is the spirit at the core of our being that calls us to higher levels of awareness. And we can see this has been around since the beginning of time, because if you look back at the Old Testament, in the book of Genesis, when Eve knew Adam, she gave birth to two sons. One, the first, was Cain, who was a tiller of the earth. And the other was Abel, a shepherd, a keeper of sheep. And at some point, each of them goes to make an offering to God. Cain's offering is rejected by God. And Abel's offering is accepted. And Cain becomes upset. And God says to Cain, "Why are you upset? If you continue to do good, you will have a good life. But if you do not continue to do good, you will have difficulties, and the things of life will smite you." So Cain says to God, "What am I to do? Now that that is the situation, I will be slain by others." And God says to Cain, "No, you will not. There will be a mark on you, and no one will slay you who will not be severely punished, and they will know it." And so we have the physical element of this character, Cain, represents the acquisition and the need to gain physical sustenance, to acquire, and acquire. But God says that he will never be fulfilled. But if he does good, he will survive and have a life. And then Adam, who gave birth to these, represents mankind. So we're not talking about physical historic characters at all. We're talking about these two same natures that exist in mankind. And Abel represents the spiritual. And if you see throughout the Old Testament, most of your prophets and great leaders like Moses at some time kept their sheep, were keepers of sheep. And that's an indication metaphysically of keepers of spiritual thought and action. Modern day Master Eckhart Tolle defines these two characters within us as the nature of the inner purpose, which is a spiritual nature at the core of our being, and then the outer purpose, which is to acquire the things we need from the physical world to live a physical life. And Eckhart Tolle will go on to say that the strictly limited pursuit of physical life without the spiritual will never ever be able to bring us any kind of well-being. We will never find true happiness or true peace of mind if that particular figure, that nature within us, has the priority and prevails in our thinking and our actions. We will never find fulfillment, and we'll never find enlightenment. That means we'll never know what it meant to be alive, truly alive. To be truly alive, according to Eckhart Tolle, is that the spiritual needs to take the priority in our awareness. That has to be the goal of our existence, actually, to be mindful throughout living our physical lives that we are first, foremost, and primarily spiritual beings. And we must then keep that in mind if we're going to be able to create harmony within our own physical existence. If we leave that out, if we ignore that, if we become so enamored by the desires of the physical life, we will find more tribulation, more pain, more suffering, which is what Cain is saying to God. I will have nothing but tribulation. The world will not prevail for me. But God said, if you do good, you will have a good life. But that would mean allowing his brother Abel to be in charge. And so we see down through the ages, this has been understood. We don't need actually masters to tell us this. If we look objectively at life, we can see that there are these two natures. And it is possible for the one nature, the physical one, to eclipse the spiritual almost completely. And who might we be referring to as a figure to look upon, who might be someone that might have eclipsed this subtle spiritual guiding awareness? Who might be a one that has done that? Well, he's in the news every day now. It's Vladimir Putin. The only thing he desires is to acquire. And if he's allowed to continue, he will never be satisfied. He will always be trying to glorify his ego-centered idea of self as being strictly physical and needs the attention of the world to know his own prowess. Now, who would be the other side of that? And this is an extreme as well, because we're not called to either one of these extremes, but Gandhi called his followers to not resist those that would even punish you or physically punish you. Do not resist them. And that's an extreme as well. But as it turned out, Gandhi actually did prevail. His philosophy did prevail in India. The persecutors, the English, the British, finally left. But you can see that each of us is involved in this living duality. And it is not possible to make the choices every day to keep the priority of the spiritual in the forefront of our consciousness. We need to be mindful. It takes spiritual practice, because since we were born, it has only been the Cain element, the acquiring for the physical life. Since we were born, that's what guided our awareness, until we reached a certain place where we realized that life wasn't all that great, living strictly from a physical awareness. Now, some people never get it. I mean, that's what you have. Some people that are doing that exclusively. But in order to move into the spiritual, more refined, joyful well-being of spirit, we need to be mindful. We need to practice, do spiritual practice every day. And we need to meditate. And Eckhart Tolle will go on to say that life truly worth living is done in awakened doing. Awakened doing means we're carrying on our physical lives in the world, but we are awake in the process of it. Jesus spoke to this as well and said he wanted his disciples to remain in the world, but to be free of the evil of the world. Therefore, they would be in the world, but not necessarily of the world. They would be in the world, but not necessarily following the thinking of the world. So this whole concept of making the spirit the priority is a necessity according to Eckhart Tolle. And he has this to say. Let's take a look at this on the PowerPoint. In his book, Oneness with All Life, on page 99, paragraph 1, awakened doing is the alignment of your outer purpose, what you do, with your inner purpose, awakening and staying awake. Through awakened doing, you become one with the outgoing purpose of the universe. Consciousness flows through you into this world. It flows into your thoughts and inspires them. It flows into what you do and guides and empowers it. It flows into what you do and guides and empowers it. Okay, I mean, if you're not familiar with Eckhart Tolle's life or his teachings, you can readily see that he faced a decision early on in his adulthood that living in the physical life, in the physical world, and attempting to make yourself happy and have a state of well-being did not work at all for him. And he had a mental breakdown and a crash. And he found himself for 2 years before he wrote The Power of Now. He would simply sit in a park somewhere in California and feed pigeons. But then it rose within him the realization of life. And that's how we wound up with The Power of Now. I want to share this with you so I get the words right on this. This is our primary purpose if we seek well-being, that is, to attain the joy of living. Thus, living a totally successful life, which includes true peace and joy, requires making our inner purpose our priority. This translates into awakened doing. As has been stated often enough, this requires mindfulness or spiritual practice. And as we do the spiritual practice, while it may seem in the beginning to be difficult, because it appears that holding a mindful ideal of being awake in what you're doing, interferes with the natural flow of thought. Because we were raised from birth to simply be thinking continuously. Even while we're doing other things, while we're eating, we're not really involved consciously with eating. We're thinking about something else. When we're doing some kind of vacation, quite often, our heads are someplace else. Or we're always on the job, thinking the job, or something like that. So it seems to us that this stream of thinking is interfered with when we know that the goal is to be present. How difficult that actually is for our Western consciousness, to be present in what we are doing. When we're eating, we're eating. When we're doing our job, we're doing our job, fully conscious of what is needed to be done. We're wholeheartedly doing that one thing. In the Zen, it speaks about enlightenment being doing one thing at a time. Only doing one thing at a time. And of course, Tolle he's totally involved with the idea that our thinking is incessant. And unless you do a spiritual practice, unless you're capable of pausing and recognizing that you're out of touch with what's going on, you cannot find your way into the consciousness of God, which is, by the way, the kingdom of heaven that Jesus was always referring to, which is within us, which is in the midst of us, which is here and now. We can find that consciousness that is guided by divine awareness, spirit, within us, because at our core, we are made in the image and likeness of the divine. But it is possible for us to become so carried away by the treasures and pleasures of the outer-directed world, where we actually used to think held our happiness, that we'll find our way drifting back to it. Well, you can discover how quickly that can happen. And when it happens, you will know that it's happening because you'll start to feel pressured. You'll start to feel some stress. You've got to get something done. You've got to get to something. Where you are in the present moment is not where you are. Your mind has just shifted to say, I should be doing this. I'm missing out on that. I have to get that done. So you're not going to be present. And it's going to create some kind of pressure within you. And you can recognize this pressure, and then you know you have to take a holy pause. You have to pause and realize, I would rather have peace instead of this. And return again to the moment in which you actually exist, which Eckhart Tolle says is the only moment. It's the only real moment, is the now. And what you are doing now, give your consciousness completely to the doing of it. He will say this. Can we have this next PowerPoint? Again, from Oneness with All Life, page 99. The modalities of awakened doing are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. Each one represents a certain vibrational frequency of consciousness. You need to be vigilant to make sure that one of them operates whenever you are engaged in doing anything at all. from the most simple task to the most complex. If you are not in the state of either acceptance, enjoyment, or enthusiasm, look closely and you will find that you are creating suffering for yourself and others. Can we take this back again, please? The modalities of awakened doing. Can you imagine arriving there where everything you're doing wholeheartedly? It has your consciousness. This is what you're doing. And by doing that, there is the modalities of acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. Each one represents a certain vibrational frequency of consciousness. You need to be vigilant, that is mindful, to make sure that one of them operates whenever you are engaged in doing anything at all. From the most simple task to the most complex. If you are not in the state of either acceptance, enjoyment, or enthusiasm, look closely and you will find that you are creating suffering for yourself and others. So, the masters have always known that the priority has to be spiritual awareness. In the beginning, it seems to be an interference with the natural flow of just thinking whatever you want to be thinking, wherever you are, doing whatever you're doing. Your thinking is somewhere else. Your head is not in the moment that you are living. But with practice, it becomes so beautiful and peaceful and joyful that you really don't have to make a difficult effort in order to remain in the present moment. What has happened is you realize that life is not exactly as you used to interpret it. Life actually does carry on with you. If you don't get anything else out of this morning, work with this idea. Your experiences and the conditions of your life do not rise separate and apart from you. They rise with you. There's no two people living in the same exact world, because your world rises with your collected consciousness of beliefs, and they are outpictured in everything you look upon. But it doesn't arise separate from you. So you see, where we used to react to conditions and circumstances and allowing them to define how we're going to feel, if they were in keeping with our personal desires, we would feel okay. When they're not in keeping with our desires, we're at odds with the circumstances. And then we're not in a good mood, and we're doing things that create suffering for ourselves and others. So the object then is to have a holy pause and get back to realize your conditions and circumstances of your world do not rise separate and apart from you. They rise with you. It is your consciousness that you are looking upon, how you look upon everything. And so when you finally get in touch with what is truly valuable, the spiritual priority, you will make yourself a life truly worth living. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? This is A Course in Miracles, page 66, in the old text. In the new edition, it's 72. To be wholehearted, you must be happy. If fear and love cannot coexist, and if it is impossible to be wholly fearful and remain alive, the only possible whole state is that of love. There is no difference between love and joy. Therefore, the only possible whole state is the wholly joyous. To heal or to make joyous is therefore the same as to integrate and to make one. Again, he returns to the whole concept. When we say to integrate and to make one, it means your mind moves into what is presently in your experience. You see the difference between that. You just have to see that and know why you're doing spiritual practice. So that To be wholly joyous is to be totally present. Not wanting, not grasping, not fearing, not resisting, but allowing or accepting the moment as it is. It's not that you don't have goals or aspirations, you do. You have goals and aspirations, but they no longer take that strong position in your mind that you have to get to them. You have them there, you pursue them, but you pursue them with a preference. This is the second thing you need to take with you. I prefer to have this go a certain way. I prefer to have this promotion. I prefer to get through these exams at school. I prefer to have this kind of relationship. But it's not a demand in my mind. It's not something I have to get done in order to be happy. My happiness is knowing my present moment, and I am one with it. That means I am not separate and apart from it. I'm not resisting the moment in which I'm actually living. And finally, let's take a look at this. Oneness with all life again. You will enjoy any activity in which you are fully present. Any activity that is not just a means to an end. Yeah, that's what it's saying. You will enjoy any activity in which you are fully present. Any activity that is not just a means to an end. It isn't the action you perform that you really enjoy, but the deep sense of aliveness that flows into it. That aliveness is one with who you are. This means that when you enjoy doing something, you are really experiencing the joy of being in its dynamic aspect. That's why anything you enjoy doing connects you with the power behind all creation. That's it. This man became enlightened, okay? He happens to live among us. He wrote books that awaken our minds to say, wait a minute, maybe chasing the world and all the things of the world aren't going to bring me that fulfillment, peace of mind, and happiness I'm seeking. And in fact, they're not. Because down through the ages, everyone that has ever taken a task, his or her own awareness, has discovered that these things are true. Spirit, being awake in spirit, is what brings life into everything you are doing in this present moment. If you are resisting this present moment, you need to catch yourself. And then return to the whole idea. I am here now, honest with God. What if you took that as an affirmation for this week? I am here now, honest with God. Whereas if you're not living in the present moment and okay with it, accepting it, enjoying it, then you have to return to holy awareness, stop, pause. I'm not really in touch with what is truly happiness. I am going to return to be honest with God. So this is your weekly yoga. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? This is a now moment yoga. See if you can take this with you. Doing whatever is before you to do and doing it wholeheartedly. This means your job, no matter how you felt about it before you started doing this yoga. It's going to prove itself to you if you can take on the task of doing this yoga. Your job, no matter what it entails, from office computer work to digging ditches, again, homemaker, do all that the job requires, from cooking to cleaning the cat box. Out of work, give your attention to finding a job or finding what the moments of each day call you to do. Leisure time, give your now attention to any and all kinds of recreation. Let's quickly take this back again one more time. Doing whatever is before you to do and doing it wholeheartedly. This means your job, no matter what it entails, from office computer work to digging ditches. Homemaker, do all that the job requires, from cooking to cleaning the cat box. Out of work, if you're out of work, give your attention to finding a job or finding what the moment of each day calls you to do. Leisure time, if you have leisure time, give your now attention to any and all kinds of recreation. We are here now deciding to be honest with life as it actually exists. And we'll continue to do that with our meditation. We'll start by listening to our beautiful crystal bowl and allow it to take us into this moment, right here in this sanctuary. When we get to the place in silence, we can hold this idea, this mantra, and hold our mind gently to it. There is only one everything. Only one. In you, in me, in everything we see, there is only one. Only God. There is only one everything. Only one. In you, in me, in everything we see, there is only one. Only God. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space. Let us go forth with the inspiration to practice the presence and enjoy the presence. For this opportunity in every moment, let us be grateful. And to this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And those of you that are watching this on live stream, you can scroll down to the place where it says donate, and it'll tell you how to donate. Or you can just read the screen up here. These are the different ways you can donate to Unity of Boulder, so we can continue our ministry. And while we're preparing to do this, I would like to invite you to do something different next Sunday. Show up here. You know, we prepare the sanctuary and the fellowship hall with special EG lights that purify the atmosphere, the air. And the pews are wiped down, and you can still wear a mask if you want to, but you're not really getting the full feeling of what it is to be in the presence of the truth we share here in Unity of Boulder. So I invite you to do something different next Sunday. Show up.
Join the discussion.
Right.
Join the discussion.
Right. Okay, we think that we could inspire you to show up if we do a discussion after this session. So we will do that. We'll have a discussion after this session in Fellowship Hall. Those of you that want to stay and discuss. And, you know, if we do this enough, maybe it'll inspire those of you that are watching online to show up and be part of Unity of Boulder in the physical. All right, as we take our offerings in our hands or bring to mind that financial gift we'd like to make to Unity of Boulder, let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
I also want to mention that we'll be doing the equinox tonight, and we're going to start it if the weather, if it's not raining, if it's not freezing, we will start it in the labyrinth in the garden. It is, the garden area is so spiritual and so holy. Joel has got it magnificently clean, and you've got to feel the presence there. So I just pray that we have that time to do the labyrinth walk, because it so sets the mood for coming into the fellowship hall to do the rest of the service. So I hope to meet you out there at 6 o'clock. And
right, if it's inclement or cold, then you'll just meet in the fellowship hall right here. Okay?
oh my mind, learn thy self-control. Oh my mind, learn thy self-control. Go not in the house of senses, go not in the house of senses. Learn thy self-control. Learn thy
And we have our first rehearsal for the Easter show. If you want to be in the choir, or it's going to be a little bit different this year. It's going to be like a choir, but we're going to have everybody on stage for quite a while and sing the numbers. You're going to enjoy just singing the beautiful music that we have planned for the Easter. That's at, what time is the rehearsal?
At 6.
Thursday at 6 o'clock. Come on in and add your vocal cords.
Down in the middle room.
And we'll be downstairs in the middle room rehearsing. Okay, to all of you, thanks for showing up. Have a beautiful day.